Hi, this is part 7 of my testimony. So where we left off in the last video was that I was experiencing a supernatural dread like I had never felt before. And I say supernatural in hindsight, not at the time. At the time, I didn't think it was supernatural. I just didn't know what was happening to me. But looking back, I realized that that's exactly what it was. That was not normal. So I told everyone, I told all my friends, my mom, everyone. And I do remember that my mother, she really did not like that. She prayed over me about that. And it did get a little bit better. I think there was even some point where I felt like it had left me. But it was in the back of my mind, like, what was that? What was that and what's coming? The fear, the little seed had been planted in my mind. It was like a contagion, and it infected my mind. And I couldn't shake it. It was always there, even though the dread feeling subsided. But the thought kept coming back, like, well, what about that dread feeling? What about that dread feeling? It went on for a long time. It was around that time I started to get these very intense sore throats that kind of felt like something that you'd have with maybe strep throat without feeling sick in any other way. Your throat just felt like you must be very, very sick, and then the next day you'd feel fine. And then it would come back. In like 3 days, you'd have it again. And I just thought, well, that's not normal. I started to get a lot of digestive problems, pain when I would eat. I started to feel like I was gaining weight inexplicably. First 5 pounds, and then 10 pounds, and then 12 pounds overnight. And I wouldn't eat, and then the weight would go away, and then I'd eat again, and the weight would come back. So I was afraid to eat, and I went to the doctor, and I told her all of this, and she just said, "You probably just need more fiber. You're fine." She was a really nice doctor. She really was very nice, and she really did try to help me. So, she was just like, I was young, I looked fine to her. She said, well, maybe just explore, like, what are you eating? Maybe it's allergies, blah, 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 So I did that. And I tried cutting out dairy and wheat and yeast and sugar and just all kinds of things. That did not work at all. And the sore throats persisted, and they were keeping me up at night because I just couldn't sleep because my throat hurt or my stomach hurt, or I knew that something was not right with my body. And that fearful thought of something really bad is going to happen to you would every once in a while pop up. Not like before, where it was like 6 months of pure hell and dread. No, but it would pop up. Little voice in my head would say, oh, well, what if something's really wrong, So then I was at work, and one of my coworkers said to me, oh, what's that on your arm? And I said, what? And she said, what are those little dots on your arm? And I looked at my arm, and I saw these little dots. And she touched my arm, and they wiped away. And we both looked at each other, kind of horrified, like, what was it? She goes, I think it's blood. You've got blood coming out of your pores. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that's bad, right? Blood coming out of your pores? I don't know why I'm laughing. But I'm just like, well, let me get back to work, I didn't know what to do. I knew that something wasn't good, but my doctor said I just needed fiber, so I chose to just soldier on, and I don't know. I just put that out of my mind. So then the following week, after the blood coming out of my pores, I started to feel dizzy, and I passed out. And the people on the security camera saw me and ran down there, and that's what they told me later, and they helped me up and told me to go upstairs, and I talked to the HR lady and called my mother up crying, "I'm really sick, come help, come get me." She came and got me. She took me back home to my apartment that I was sharing with my fiance at the time, who was my friend from college, who is now my fiance, and we were living together. And yes, at the time I even knew that was bad, but there I was living with him, and so I'm sick, very, very sick. But I've convinced myself, and my mom convinced herself, that I had the flu. And I just thought, well, it'll go away. It'll get better. I'm just sick. So I did not get better. I started to feel like I couldn't walk, and I felt like I couldn't talk. And by not being able to talk, what I mean is that I started slurring my words, and I couldn't get the words out. And I started to feel like the muscles in my legs were not, something was really wrong. Because I felt like I would take a couple of steps and then I would almost feel like I would fall down. My muscles would seize up and I couldn't walk. So then I called my doctor again and I told her, this is what's going on. And she said, have your mother bring you in right away. So we go to the doctor, and she wasn't even working that day. She just said, come in. And she said, she talked to us, and she said, I think you might have MS. And I didn't know what that was, because I was 22, and didn't think anything bad could happen to me, because, I was just like, yeah, just really had no reference point with what MS could possibly be. But I knew from the look on her face that she looked very grave. Then she said, I don't want to speculate, but I think there's something really wrong with you. So she sent us off to the hospital. Off to the hospital we went for a battery of tests. Why do they call it a battery of tests? I don't know, but it was a battery of tests. I had a lot of tests. It was a teaching hospital, so it wasn't just like one or two doctors. It was like maybe 15 doctors standing over you, conferring with each other and talking about you like, you're not even there. And they were, apparently I didn't have MS. They did not believe so, but they thought that could be explored further. But they thought maybe I had a brain tumor. So they just were talking about that back and forth right in front of me. And I just started to cry, because I thought, oh, that's what the dread feeling was about. I'm dying, and I'm not going to make it. Okay, well, let's see how much I can say in this short amount of time. So, anyway, the next year and a half, my mom and I she would take me to all of these doctors. I went to endocrinologists, neurologists, and every kind of ologist, just trying to figure out what was wrong with me. It was ruled out that I didn't have a brain tumor. I didn't have MS. They didn't know what was wrong with me. And then, my mom was praying so hard, I know it, during that time for an answer. A friend of hers recommended us to a specialist in Connecticut, and he diagnosed me, finally, with late-stage Lyme disease. And I thought, okay, well, that doesn't sound so bad. Definitely would explain what was going on, but yeah, I'm sure that I'll just get treated and I'll be fine.